everybody. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Will.
And this is So I'm Watching Andor, Season 2, Episode 7. I missed it when it was out there.
Yeah, whatever this one's called.
Messenger.
Okay.
Well, that's what StarWars.com says. So we'll see.
Someone tells me they have it right.
Where do you want to start?
It's another year later.
Yeah. BBY2.
BBY2.
I just want to say baby every
Yeah.
time.
I want to say BB8.
Or that, yeah.
They are properly settled and operating from Yavin now.
That's correct, yeah.
Which is much more recognizable now as the place they launched the Death Star attack from in A New Hope.
Okay.
Like it's the same. That's where they lift off from with their X-wings and shit. You see the guy with the scanner looking over the top of the trees.
I will say it's been probably solidly 10 years since the last time I watched A New Hope.
Yeah.
I think. So it's like a little...
Mm-hmm.
I know the broad strokes. I'm not always laser focused.
Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't realize that.
I had to look it up to make sure I was 100% right that it was the same place, but those big like ziggurat that they're underneath is the same one.
Cool.
That's in A New Hope.
All right, so that is where Cassian and Bix are.
Yep. And then Willman returns to them.
Yeah.
Presumably they were acting like he had been back and gone and back and gone. It was not. It felt like he was like returning from the Saw Gerrera mission at the end of the previous episode.
He has to have been back and forth.
There was a whole year, and they were very like.
And also, I think Cassian has been out and back again a few times because he's been injured by a blaster, and it's not healing. And so, I guess I didn't realize how anti-psychic he was. He's like very anti-Jedi or like force powers or anything. I know she wasn't a Jedi, but she had like force healing or whatever.
He wouldn't be familiar with Jedi, I don't think, because he was a child when he was taken in, so he grew up away from them, and then probably around the time that he was taken in was like Episode 3 when the Jedi were decimated. So
sure, but wouldn't it still be like bedtime stories, kind of?
Maybe a little, but it would probably depend on like where you're from, because I would imagine that there would be like some campaign by the Empire to squash the idea of them at all.
Then basically in the first 3 movies, are there like a total of 3 Jedi and that's it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I don't know if I ever like fully put that together.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, Obi-Wan's in hiding.
Right. And then there's Luke
doesn't know.
And then there's Darth Vader.
And Vader is in use. Well, and Palpatine.
Well, sure. So 4.
Yeah. Palpatine, I guess, they're Sith. So like we're throwing the word Jedi around, but
they have fucking mind powers.
They use the Force.
I don't want to hear it. Nobody watches these fucking videos. Give me a break.
Yeah. So not to like jump too much ahead, the interaction with Will coming back to see Cassian specifically was interesting because he basically presented them with Dedra on a platter, like this is where she's going to be. She's the one that's running this thing. Like it's time to get her.
So, okay, he also said she killed my dad. Was his dad?
She was the one that was operating.
Brasso?
No. His dad was the one that was operating the little shop. His dad looks just like him.
Okay.
He had like a little electronics shop.
Oh, sure. Okay.
His dad was essentially like tortured to death by the like screaming animal baby thing.
The Dr. Gorst.
Gorst, yeah.
Okay.
And she was the one that was like
approving all that.
Yes,
okay, gotcha.
Exactly.
I'm good.
So that scene was interesting because it gave them a mission, which by the end they're executing on or like working towards. But it also implied that Luthen is still like working in like kind of a shadow capacity they have evolved so much now, like in the last year they've organized so much that
he seems kind of superfluous.
Is a little bit he's like, we didn't even see him.
Yeah.
That he's just kind of like on the periphery. They don't really know what he's doing. Like they're getting like a military organized. So they're like making decisions, like broad, bigger decisions.
We need a little less of the Master of Whispers and a little bit more actual action.
Yeah, 100%. And Andor is still very like, what's that old dickhead up to?
Yeah.
Like, you know? So that was interesting. They didn't like really push it beyond that. But then, they do go Bix makes him go to, or she tricks him into going to where this force healer was, and they say the word force.
Yep.
Which is interesting.
She can like sense him from across the way, and he's convinced that Bix like set this up as like a trick, like a scam, and she's like, "No, I swear, like I knew she was here, but I didn't tell her anything about you." And so she can tell that he's like which shoulder he's hurt and everything, and then, but it's like she can feel something else in him, and so she's like, "I haven't felt it in so long," and like then he is like, "Forget you, psychic. Like, forget you, Miss Cleo," and like storms away. But then she talks to Bix about how he like gathers as he like goes, and he is meant to be a messenger.
Yeah, he doesn't hold the past the way others do. He's not like defined as much by the past like others are. He is like moving forward.
Yeah. And so I suspect that has
it's very woo woo.
It's a little woo woo, but also I mean
it's like the most like woo woo the Force has ever sounded.
I guess that's fair, but again, we also know that it's true because he will literally carry the message of you know, freedom. And,
he will deliver the thing that turns the tide.
Exactly. So I like that.
Yeah, it was a really good scene. It was really interesting.
That woman was very
compelling,
very pleasing, and like just a delight to just like, I don't know, she just seemed like your English lit professor at Berkeley.
Well, she felt like out of place in the right way.
Sure.
Like they were essentially introducing space magic into this very grounded story. And like we obviously know that space magic exists, but we have not seen it. This has been such a grounded story. They've said the Emperor a couple of times, but they've never once implied that he can control shit with his mind or use a lightsaber or whatever.
Right.
So now, and so it was really interesting that like just they like picked the right person, they gave her the right direction, and her general demeanor was different enough to stand out in that way, but in like a positive way, if that makes sense.
No, I don't know if
I can like describe it better than that.
But I think that works. She, her name's Josie Walker. She's from Belfast. She was in Belfast. Yeah, I don't know. There was just something very, very compelling and like comforting about her.
Yeah.
It really worked for me. It really didn't work for Cassian. Bix also feels like she's very close to getting into crystals.
No, it didn't work for Cassian because she was right. Like that's what Bix was saying. Like she was right, and that made you mad. It's like people that like are like really weird about tarot cards, and then a tarot card is right, and they're like flip the table over, and you're like fuck you, you know.
Tarot cards are cool. Yeah. So basically, the end of the Cassian thing is him and Willman go back to Gorman.
Yeah. There's a little like tension with like one of the, I don't know what their like ranks are, but he's clearly like a higher up in like organizing the fleet.
Yeah.
And Andor leaving willy-nilly doesn't fit very well with the broader plan of this. Yeah. This army.
I did like his line when he was like, the minute that I have to like account for my comings and goings is gone. That's it. And he goes, well, it's happening.
We're getting there
real soon.
Yeah.
So
it was interesting. It was like a really like, you get the meaning by that without having them being like, well, we're, you know, planning to do this, that, and the other thing. So we need everybody like, that was just the implication of it. It was a really nice, like,
there's still like enough secrecy too that everyone doesn't know what everyone's doing, which is interesting.
Well, they said that too. He was like, do you trust every face that comes in here? And it's like, well, we have so many every day that like, of course we can't.
Yeah.
It was interesting. So then they go
to Gorman.
They don't say they're going to Gorman.
And we don't know until they arrive.
But they do take a ship and they go.
Because of what's been going on, Gorman is under a curfew. They're being very strict about identification and all kinds of stuff.
Well, there have been attacks also.
And there has been an attack on the like
rebel attacks.
The aviation field or something, whatever they said.
Yeah.
Which they believe are like, well, I feel like they did it.
They did.
The Empire.
No.
The rebels did do it.
It's that like little group, that little splinter group.
I saw this headline today that was like, maybe you missed it. The Gorman is based on the French front in World War II. So much so that even some of the actors are French. And I was like, are you fucking serious?
It's impossible to miss.
It's so impossible to miss.
They dress the same.
Yeah.
Like they are speaking
Ridiculous.
A French sounding language.
It's a fashion-based planet.
Yeah. It's not subtle.
It's not subtle at all. So anyway, there's been this attack. Cyril's still playing both sides of the field.
Sort of.
Well, he thinks he is. He thinks that he's trying to like help broker peace in some way.
Yeah, I guess that's true. He does not know grander.
Yeah. And Dedra is horned up for this whole plot. She literally, so she gets off of the phone call with, I keep forgetting his name. Partagaz. And he's like, it's almost go time. It's going to be like in the next 48 hours. You'll know like when it's going to happen.
Well, the important part of why it's go time is that like they have reached a conclusion on their like research.
They can't recreate the calcite.
Exactly.
In any sort of synthetic way. So they have to have the planet. They're going to mine it. There's going to be nothing left of the planet.
Yeah.
Don't even worry about it. So, but Cyril still thinks they're like doing something. So he comes to talk to her and he's like, it's impossible to get around. There's like rumors that it's outside people. Can we like play up with that? Like blah, blah, whatever. And she's like, get your sexy ass home and pack. We are moving on up back to Coruscant.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't understand. And then she kisses him so hard, I'm surprised he's not missing teeth.
I think isn't that the first time we've seen them actually kiss?
Yeah.
Like have like physical touch.
There was very, very heavily implied bedroom time in the last chunk of episodes.
Yeah.
But we didn't see it. Because
turn out the lights.
She made him turn out all the lights.
Well, sorry, before you move on, there was just one thing that I found like very interesting. It was, again, like a really interesting shorthand about how, like, dehumanized everyone else is to these people that are, like, running the Empire. And it's when Partagaz is talking to Dedra over the phone,
Skype.
Yeah. They were, like, talking about this, like, mass evacuation and destruction of this planet based around the calendar. They're like, oh, they're still working out the calendar, but it was just very like blasé. Like, well, when credit can fit it into his schedule, we will invade this planet.
Right.
Like, it was so like
impersonal.
Yeah, they just like have to do this thing. They have to find time to go fold their laundry or like pick up their dry cleaning or whatever. But they actually have to like
exterminate a planet.
Yeah.
So if we could basically, that's where we're at on Gorman, and the rebels are fighting each other too. Man, Rylands is just really like peaceful protest is the only way.
Yeah.
And
like, that ain't it,
the younger ones are like, we need to start cracking some skulls.
Yeah.
And it's just, they're like, it's shocking how successful they have been up to now with so much dissent in the ranks, kind of. But leaving, that's neither here nor there. They didn't really come to the one guy, this guy.
Well, they didn't come to a conclusion, but I think it kind of doesn't matter as long as they are there, like distracting. Because now Willman is with them, kind of on the ground,
making eyeballs at the one that's surely going to die next week.
Yeah, one of the gals is definitely making eyes at him, but he is on like comms, essentially, like getting information from them to Cassian, who is in that same hotel room that overlooks that.
He's posing as someone different though, as a news person.
Well, and the same bellboy was
recognized him and was like, wink.
Yeah, it's like, you have to carry your own bags this time.
Yeah,
he said. He's like, I do recognize you, but I'm on your.
Yeah,
side.
But I get it.
Yeah.
There's also stormtroopers. He's apparently trying to carry there. He's doing an assassination of Dedra, is what he's trying to do. He's worried about the glass. It might take 2 shots, apparently. She only comes outside every now and then, but like they know where her office is and whatnot. And so he's like scouting the place, and he realizes there's stormtroopers on the roof right above him. Yeah, so it's going to make an assassination pretty tricky.
He just knows that he's going to have to, like, the first part of his assassination is going to have to be like
those 2
disarming those guys in some way. That is where we basically leave it. He's trying to, like, he is there getting situated. And then that's kind of the end of the episode. It was the shortest episode. It was only 40 minutes. It
was shortish. We did also have a scene where Vel came to see Bix. She is there on Yavin now. She's just around. She stopped smuggling. So that was a cool note that she had been a smuggler. Let's get some stuff with her and Han Solo. He was a smuggler.
Oh, okay, sure.
Maybe they're meeting up at Smugglers Anonymous or something.
No, because then we're gonna have to get some idiot who agrees to have Harrison Ford's young face pasted on him.
No, Jesus Christ, I meant fan fiction. I don't want. I'm not in the. Absolutely
okay.
not. No.
Okay, I thought you were like.
Sorry, I was not clear. I was just like, that would be fun.
Yeah.
They just were like, even just like a buddy comedy. The two of them smuggling, amazing. So apparently she started taking really bad risks and she was getting reckless because Cinta's dead. And so she's basically taken this like Yavin-based thing. She's checking people in, yada yada.
She said specifically that she needed a break.
Yeah.
And Bix was like, "Good on you for recognizing that." Yeah. It was like she was like, "Yeah, I mean, we all
can I
were
interest
thinking
you
it.
in some blue space drugs?"
Yeah.
Bix actually seems fine.
She seems great. Yeah.
She seems like she's doing amazing. Yeah. It's just like having to deal with a grumpy Cassian is her biggest concern at the moment.
Yeah.
And then we did have a scene with Mon Mothma at the Senate. That senator from before, Senator Oron, he is like regretting, I guess, not supporting her before and is getting more concerned. Yeah. Is he from Gorman?
I think so.
He's very tailored.
Yeah.
So I figured. But yeah, so you can tell that he seems distraught and she's distraught for him. And they basically both are like, I wish we could do something.
Yeah.
But they're in the official government, so they can't.
Yeah, they showed their only other interaction in like the Previously On to like remind us that when she was trying to like get votes for whatever, he was like, I can't agitate the Empire, not with, Gorman in play.
Right.
And she was like, I mean, we're readying a petition, but that must, sound like nothing to you. And he was like, what did he say? He was like, failed legislature. I think it takes more than failed legislature to upset me these days or whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Such a senator thing to say.
I think the only other just like tiny thing is that Cyril went to go see Enza and he was like, if you can give me any information that points to this being like an outside agitator, like obviously, and she just hauled off and slapped him right across the face and then walked away. Incredible.
Yeah.
I hope she's not the one that dies. I hope it's the other one.
I don't have a great feeling about.
I just feel like they're all gonna die.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Like if I'm right in thinking that like this calcite that they're hauling from Gorman is to power the Death Star, I know they get it. So I don't feel good. I feel like they're going to be on the planet when it cracks. And
that part.
It's just going to be gone.
What about the spiders?
No more spiders.
Oh.
Well, you can't be like, oh, the spiders are gross. Oh, the spiders are the worst. I hate them. Even though I know these ones are nice, I still hate the spiders.
I don't want to interact with their creepy little legs. That doesn't mean I want them to die forever and not be able to make any more silk. Who's going to dress everybody in the future?
Yeah, they're not really thinking about that.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe someone is.
The Empire, all their stuff is totally synthetic. That's like the most disgusting feeling fabric ever.
Polyester.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah. Pretty good episode.
Yeah, I was really into it. Again, it was the same. It was just like episode 5 last time where they were like really like getting stuff in play. There was like a lot of like, I don't know, like transitional kind of conversations that were like, but it does feel like they always are like that at the beginning of each of these blocks, just because they have to get the next thing moving.
Yeah.
But to me, that's always felt good. It hasn't felt forced or like formulaic or anything. It just always kind of feels like we're dropping in when something is like, when an important thing is going to happen.
Yeah. I feel like I had one more thing to say, but now I don't remember what it was. So, fine.
Okay.
We're going to be done. It was a good one. We will do the other 2 tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.